welcome to round number 2 of the SimRacingPoints.com Sportscar Series live from Circuit Zandvoort in Amsterdam, Netherlands. And tonight I'm in the booth with Dean Doucet. Dean, what a race we have on tap tonight as we are heading to the Netherlands to participate in a challenging track that ranks among one of the most challenging road courses in all of Europe.
Absolutely. I mean, this track, these guys, I personally don't know the track that well other than the fact that it is incredibly difficult. And it'll be interesting to see if this has brought some of these guys back into the mix. I mean, you've got Koontz, Dicesare, Reinhardt's here tonight. We've got a couple other guys here as well. Jared, as you know, Solari and Taylor. Very interested to see if this kind of track kind of brings everybody into that competition.
Exactly right, Dean. This is a track that features a 180-degree turn at the end of a long pit straightaway called Arie Luyendyk. Named after the two-time Indy 500 winner who started out racing at this very circuit. But tonight it's the GT Series that's out here. And these cars, we saw them 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen International at a very difficult track that was. And it really came down between the two very racing drivers, Matt Koontz and Nick Dicesare, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it was an amazing battle. I mean, those two battled for the entirety of the race, Jared. It was incredible to watch. And, we expect more out of those two. But Will Wilkie, Reinhardt, and maybe a couple of other surprise guys get up there and have something to say about it tonight.
Yeah, and that's a great question as we are right now in the middle of qualifying here. And you look at the standings, not much to look at, just one race in the book. Dicesare with a 7-point lead over Matt Koontz. Joe Flanagan grabbed the other podium spots. He's 9 back. Theo Taylor, 11 back. Paul Romaninski and Luke Hantanaka not able to make it tonight. So those guys in 5th and 6th going to be dropping out. Daniel Rice not here. But we also have Darren Snyder, Eric Bergdorf, Lane Allen, Mike Watts, Tony Solari, who's up on the top in practice, all the way back in 14th in points. Maybe this could be a race that he can get himself going. You also got Donnie Staubitz out there in the Blackwater Products Chevy Corvette. He had a bad race at Watkins Glen, and I'd look to think that Donnie Staubitz could. This track kind of fits his driving style a little bit.
Yeah, it very well could. I mean, the track is, highly demanding here. I'm seeing a lot of elevation change, a lot of different corners. You can't just master one style of racing here. You got braking zones, downhill, uphill, coming out uphill, downhill, short turns, long turns, medium turns. Gonna be super interesting.
And to give you guys a kind of a good look around this track, we'll jump on board with our last week's winner, Nick Dicesare, come up through the very first turn here. This is actually not a turn, but then we're going to go into Hugenholtz, which is named after the track designer, as this track was built in 1940. We're going to go down this little straightaway, but it's not too straight through this section here, which can kind of catch some drivers out. Then, after that, we're going to go right through here, and then we're going to go down into the Marlboro turn. And this is a turn where a lot of drivers can be caught out because you have to cut this apex, Dean, and then flat back out. And then this turn right here tightens up. You see Dicesare actually missed the point there. And then you're going to go into Renault and then Vodafone section through here before you head into, which is going to be a huge passing point here at the end of this long straightaway.
Man, all demanding, just watching this lap. Incredible demanding what you're going to have to do. And what else I'm noticing is the runoff giving, as we've seen, a lot of beach out there that can do some real harm to these cars, Jared.
Yeah, this is, even though F1 is going to race here in, I think about, don't Kate on me if I'm wrong, but this is an old school road course. There's no runoff, there's no paved runoff, I should say. It's what you got is waiting. I like these kind of tracks where the driver really is kind of on the edge the entire time. As we were following around Dicesare, his teammate, Matt Koontz, went top of the board.
To see Koontz up there, but little surprised to see some of the other guys here. Dicesare down in 8th. I still haven't seen Wilkie put in a time, and expecting about Watts and Solari. They're right up there.
Yeah, Mike Watts, you've probably seen him if you watch our broadcast, participates in the Monday night series at Full Throttle Sim Racing in the Dark Matter Designs Cup Series, and has had some good races over the past few weeks. Tony Solari also participates in several series here you'll see on Full Throttle TV. You see Josh Wilkie, he's coming across the line doing his first lap. Not a great lap, but they do get 4 laps, but they have only 10 minutes to do it. He's going to go third, slotting in just behind Mike Watts. We got 4 drivers in the 133s. Is William Reinhardt, who was a driver that challenged until he got kind of caught up through the inner loop last week. He is the only other driver in the 133s right now.
As we see a couple of Porsches there towards the top, sandwiching in the Ferrari, and the Ford is up there. Got to look back a little bit for a couple of those vets to get in there.
Yeah, Eric Bergdorf, you see him on the screen now, that number 88 for Asphalt Motorsports. Appreciate Eric and Darren Snyder sponsoring this series, allowing us to bring this to you through their team and the homebrew Hard Dicks Hoppin Ale. And if you're in the New York area, I'm hoping I'm going to get some, but definitely appreciate those guys being on board. But he is right now the leading driver in the Chevrolet. Nick Dicesare the leading in the Ford. Mike Watts the leading in the Ferrari. We have no BMWs in the race tonight.
Did someone say homebrew? Did I tell you I'm Canadian? Eric, that's a shout out. Homebrew, please.
Send some Dean's way. All right, and you see Darren Snyder on the screen right now. He was the GT Am Championship winner last year, but now that all these series are kind of merged together, qualifying is about 2 minutes left. Let's take a look at the race information. And Dean, you'll notice as well as everybody at home, it's cloudy. 69 degrees, winds out of the east-northeast at 12 miles an hour, and only 80-degree track temp. This track is the lowest track we'll go to all season. It is located about 100 yards from the North Sea there, right off the coast of Europe. So these engines are going to be fully bored out here at this race today.
Yeah, it's always interesting for that kind of thing to come into play. You know, it does have an effect on, you know, the aux cars have and everything, and how lean and how full, rich these cars will run. So another interesting factor brought up by you, Jared. I wonder how it'll play out.
These lap times about a second quicker than we saw last night in slightly different conditions during the practice. But right now we are about ready to end this session. As even though
Jared's got a little friend with him momentarily there.
Even though we're in the Netherlands, racing is going to support the American national anthem. So rise, remove your hats, and enjoy this performance by Alyssa Shipp.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, we are back live here at Zandvoort as the drivers are gridding up, and what a performance! We need to get her to do all the national anthems for all the countries we visit. No, I'm kidding, but I can't speak Dutch. Can you, Dean?
I'm trying to think of something witty, Jared. No, I cannot. I can't even think of anything funny from the Dutch side of things. But Alicia doing a great job. We really appreciate her performance with the national anthem.
Yes, we do here at Full Throttle TV, and it's been a staple, and people love to have that, and we're going to keep that going. We're going to look at the starting grid as these guys will have a full lap around, but it's no surprise, Dean on the front row, very racing, Matt Koontz and Nick Dicesare up there. Row number 2 will be Tony Solari and Mike Watts. Row 3 will be Josh Wilkie and William Reinhardt, and rounding out your top 8 will be Theo Taylor, the New Zealander, and Eric Bergdorf in 8th place.
Yeah, we got Lane Allen in 9th with Donnie Staubitz, a couple of teammates there, 9th and 10th. Joe Flanagan and Yari Brewpacker are going to be 11th and 12th. Darren Schneider, Scott Page, and Brad Cornthwaite will round out the field.
And we got, you got the 2 Blackwater drivers in row number 5 there, and both in the Chevrolets, so we'll see what they can do. Blackwater, huge supporter here at Full Throttle TV as well. We got a lot of great supporters, and we like to give them a shout out anytime we can. But Dean, these guys got a full lap around here, and you know, you're talking about a 2-stop race in this circumstance, and yeah, there's only 15 cars on the field, but this is going to be a pretty tight race. These guys aren't going to be able to spread out like we saw at Watkins Glen, where we had over 2-minute lap times.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, the strategy. I mean, we've seen some of the guys have great strategy, and other guys maybe not fully, sussed it out. But like you said, 2 stops, hour and a half. So we're going to look at those pit stops around that half-hour mark. Who can fiddle with that? Who can maybe take no tires early or tires early, then no tires late? And who can get less fuel in the car? All these things are going to come into play.
The other thing that's going to come into play, and we've seen it, is, we have a pretty good mix of cars. Like I said before, there's 5 different makes that can participate in GTE: Porsche, Ford, Ferrari, Chevy, and BMW. The only team that's not represented is BMW, but we have more than one of each car. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's any difference. We had an update since the last time we were at Watkins Glen. I haven't been on the track too much with these cars to know if there's a big difference with the update, but a lot of drivers were excited about this update, and we've seen a couple drivers change cars as they were allowed to do because of the massive update, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do heading out here. But those Fords and Ferrari, Mike Watts up there at the top, it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do.
Yeah, those changes, those updates really do change things. And those who have sussed it out and got in the appropriate car are going to do well here tonight. So I'm thinking the Fords look pretty good here.
Got 3 Fords in the field tonight. Porsche, obviously, still the big one, but you look at this track, still working our way around the pace lap here. Marlboro, we're going into right now. That's going to be a crucial passing zone, I feel like, in this race. And then they're going to go into Renault and then Vodafone before that back straightaway where they had the Audi S-Bolt. And I think that's going to be the place for action here tonight. And we got some, I'm looking at these cars, Dean. First off, these are some really beautiful paints that we have out here tonight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, everybody has a paint that they painted, because I'm looking at the names on them, and they have their names on them. So, I mean, it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, it absolutely is. They look really cool the way they're displayed out there.
We're heading down this long straightaway here. We'll try to keep you apprised. You had that track map up there on the right to kind of keep you guys an idea at home of what we're looking at as far as the track layout. And this is the section that is going to be very difficult for these drivers heading into the Audi, what they call the Audi S-Bolt. And if you look at it from overhead, that's exactly what it is: a hard right-hander into a banked left-hander, and this is going to be a massive point on the track because it's surrounded by sand traps.
Absolutely.
And they'll head down into Kumo, and then this long Indianapolis-type turn here named Arie Luyendyk for the famous Dutchman that won 2 Indianapolis 500s. We're getting ready to go green to start round number 2 of the SimRacingPoints.com Sports Car Series here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. Pace car is about to make the turn, and we are about ready to get this race underway here tonight.
Koontz and Dicesare up front again. Solari and Watts right behind them.
This is a long drill down to this hard right-hander. Pit road's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that as it goes on. Pace car is off.
Green, green, green.
And green flag is out. That's a quick green flag as usual. And we are going to get it going. Reinhardt with the advantage, or Dicesare, apologies, with the advantage going into turn number 1.
My goodness, they're going to come in here side by side. Everybody looking clean so far.
Coming down through the next turn here, and everybody's doing a great job through this section. Now we're going to head into Hugenholtz. This is that sharp 8-degree bank turn. Everybody doing a great job as now Matt Koontz gets ahead of Dicesare.
Yeah, Koontz already opening up over to Dicesare there. Watts trying to hang in there. Solari fighting Wilkie. You know Wilkie's going to try and come back.
Everybody doing a very good job. Watts is all over the back of Nick Dicesare. Nick Dicesare a little bit struggling out of the gate. We're going to have Josh Wilkie make a move down into Vodafone.
Yeah, he just couldn't quite make it there. That really wasn't a passing zone there. Maybe a little ill-advised, but he wants to get moving and get moving in a hurry.
So right now it's Porsche, Ford, Ferrari, Porsche, Ford, Chevy the best in 7th place with Eric Bergdorf and Donnie Staubitz battling back there. But the battle right now is for 4th position. Wilkie all over the back of Solari, the Canadian and the American. Solari locks up going into the Audi S-Bolts. That's going to cost him several positions.
And he come back up on the track there. Safe so far. See a little bit of smoke back there. Everybody is all right, though.
And that caused a checkout from Bergdorf. That's going to allow Donnie Staubitz to get underneath. Oh, and Theo Taylor's off. Theo Taylor put a wheel in the grass, and he's hit the wall hard.
Theo Taylor to the back of the field early. He's got speed. He's got a lot to make up.
That's going to allow Brad Cornthwaite to get around. Darren Snyder gets around. He's battling with Scott Page toward the back, but Matt Koontz is going to lead lap 1, and already action all over, and Matt Koontz has stepped out to a 1.5-second lead over to Dicesare.
He has stepped out a little bit here, and I don't know how much Dechazare's maybe saving a little bit or not. I don't think he would be. Watts is all over him.
And those top 5 have really established themselves right now. That's Koontz, Dicesare, Wilkie, and Reinhardt. And then Donnie Staubitz has pushed his way to 6th spot. So Staubitz up 4 positions already, Dean. I said at the pre-beginning, I said this track I feel like suits a guy like Donnie Staubitz, and he's putting that Blackwater Products Chevrolet up already 4 positions, the biggest gainer so far.
Yeah, and he's got some nice clear track. That gap mostly from that Theo Taylor incident, I would imagine. But Donnie's in a good spot here, although he is being hounded by Eric Bergdorf right behind him.
Theo Taylor, we can tell you, has made his pit stop. And he has come to a stop again. That car, I saw some smoke. We didn't get a good look at it, but some smoke out of the back of the 777. And I wonder if maybe the engine had a little bit more damage than he anticipated. And that could put last season's runner-up in the GTE Pro out of the race already, just 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that's such a shame. Unbelievable for Theo Taylor.
Right now, looking back up front, Dicesare has opened up to it, or sorry, Koontz has opened up to a 2.5-second lead. And Dean, right now, it looks like there's a bit of a queue formed behind last week's winner and LMP2 champion of last season, Nick Dicesare. He's got Watts on his back, Wilkie on his back, and Reinhardt. And they're all just kind of waiting for him to make a mistake.
They are, and they're waiting for anybody in that group, each guy waiting for the other guy to make a mistake. These guys got to get going, though. Koontz, with that clear track, continues to open up a gap close to 3 seconds at this point.
Don't look now, Donnie Staubitz puts down a little bit of a good lap here. He puts down a better lap than everybody in the top 5 except for William Reinhardt. So Staubitz in the 9.9, he could be closing up on this battle sooner than later, as he's actually knocked that gap down to about 1.5 seconds now between 5th and 6th.
He is definitely doing a great job out here, putting down that 1.34. That's a 6.93. Reinhardt actually really fast as well, like you mentioned. He needs some racing room, does Reinhardt.
Just know where he can go right now in that number 64 Ford. And Dean, when you're in this situation, road course, oval, how do you temper yourself to be like, hey, I know I have a good car. I know I have the ability here to maybe even go out here and win. But how do you temper that with losing time and being patient?
There's nothing you can do. You got to eat it. So he's got to sit here and just kind of eat it. And if he is in fact faster, then that means he could be smoother and he could save his stuff. And he's got to wait this out for about 10 laps, let those guys wear their stuff out, and then pick them off one at a time. As far as running down Koontz, a whole nother ball game. He's going to have to be either short pit or long pit or do something a little different.
Saw Wilkie try to make a move on that Ferrari and Mike Watts into turn number 1. Wasn't able to get it done, so Wilkie's had to back out again. And my goodness, this is a good race here for the top 4 or 5. And you know, you sit there and you look at some of these other battles on the track. Eric Bergdorf's got Jari Brewpasher all over the back. Tony Solari recovering to 9th, and Lane Allen on the tail of this trail as well. So the top 10, we got 2 separate groups, 2nd through 5th, and then 6th through 10th, that are all kind of in a little bit of a battle with themselves right now.
Yeah, there is. There's some great battles out on this track. Koontz really setting the stage, though. He is about a second and a half faster than anybody on the track. So Koontz looking really, really good out there. But I love these battles, man. Like you said, from Allen up to Staubitz, you got that great battle. And from Reinhardt up to Dicesare, you got that battle. Dicesare opening up a little gap now.
Yeah, I think that gap came when Watts and Wilkie were battling into turn number 1. Here comes Wilkie again in that Porsche. He's looking on the inside of Watts, but that Ferrari just has a little bit more top speed, it looks like. But Wilkie's going to get it done, though. Or is he?
He outbreaks him into the corner, does get it done. That's a great pass for Wilkie, and I think you'll see Wilkie quickly get up here to Dicesare at this point.
So the Canadian moves to 3rd position, and his teammate William Reinhardt's now over the back of Watts. Watts having a really good run, though, in that number 55 Ferrari. He is holding strong in this group, and now William Reinhardt's all over the back, heading down into that is Marlboro.
And you can just see what Wilkie did there. He gapped him in that corner on the exit. He's a little slower in, a little better off. He's closing in on Dicesare.
Now, if you're, going back to William Reinhardt, we talked about him earlier, does that make you even more anxious when you see, your teammate, a guy that has speed, Josh Wilkie, get around a guy that you're trying to battle with? Does that make you more antsy to try to get that pass done?
Well, I don't know about antsy, but yeah, I mean, teammates, you want to be safe as he almost loses it there, trying to make some kind of...
He does lose it. Gets off on the grass, and he is right in a good spot. I think everybody's going to be able to clear him, no problem, but he, in the 64, is going to drop all the way back behind Darren Snyder. He's going to drop to 2nd to last on the grid right now.
My goodness, you talked about it. Does it make him antsy? Apparently the answer is yes, Jared. It made him antsy. He was a little ill-advised through those corners. He wasn't even really trying to pass. I think he just lost his focus a little bit, and boy, did it cost him.
Now the battle's for 5th place, Dean, and that's Donnie Staubitz. He's got a Q following behind him. It's a Chevrolet of Eric Bergdorf and a Ferrari of Jari Brewpasher, along with Tony Solari in that Porsche. My goodness, we got, and we also got Dicesare trying to fend off Wilkie. Where do we look at?
Right now, this group with Donnie, and you got Bergdorf, Brewpacker, and Solari, they are racing. There goes Solari trying to make a move to the inside.
Solari can't quite get it, or does he? Coming down onto this corner, he might have an advantage heading into Vodafone. And yes, he is going to be long side heading into Marlboro. Yes, he's going to make the pass.
That's a great place to make a move at the beginning of that triple right-hander. It gives you position for 3 corners in a row, and he took advantage of an excellent move by Solari.
So move the Porsche up to 7th place. Now he started on 3rd on the grid. He's dropped 4 positions because he got off track. Donnie Staubitz is up the most, up 5 positions from his 10th place starting position, but he is getting hounded by Eric Bergdorf, and you'll be remembering last year, if you followed us, Eric Bergdorf and Darren Snyder, his teammate, tied for the GTEM championship, but it went to Darren Snyder because he had one more class win than Eric. But here we go. He's going to get a run down this front straightaway here, Dean.
He is going to take a peek down low and try and outbrake him under heavy braking. Can they get it done? Yes.
I think Donnie is going to allow that move to kind of happen. Didn't fight it too much. I mean, it's 10 minutes in the race. I mean, you have plenty of time. Is that a conservative move by Donnie, or did Eric just have that thing done?
Yeah, I think that's Donnie being smart, noticing a possible faster driver and a possible incident there that he wanted no part of. Good move from Donnie. Another thing I want to mention is Wilkie, 2 laps ago, was faster than our race leader. He has slowed up since, but he is in traffic now.
Right now we're looking at this battle between Staubitz and Solari. Solari all over the back bumper of the 99 machine, trying to look and see if he can make a move here. And again, into Chiviak and Marlboro. This is where he got around Yari. He's going to go inside, and Marlboro moves. Oh, Solari locks up just a little bit, pushes Staubitz out wide, but it looks like he's still going to get the move done.
Your dog does not like that move at all. But he locked him up there. There was contact also. He got into Donnie a little bit, but he's going to keep trying to push. Solari has speed here. He's got to have patience. As you can see, he might lose a spot instead of gaining one if he's not careful.
And all of a sudden, Dean, if you look back, you're going to see a crimson Corvette. That's Lane Allen, and a kind of a, I want to say, a pizza-looking Ferrari in Joe Flanagan. But he'd be mad if I said that, so I wouldn't say that. But they are starting to creep into this battle.
You mean you wouldn't say what you said? I don't know. They are creeping in. It's a great battle, but I'm looking at Wilkie. He is all over Cesare. I mean, he is touching his bumper.
Oh, Cesare off in the grass. Cesare's off. He holds on to it. Holy cow, what a move. Wilkie's inside of him.
There was contact there. These two slugging it out.
And now this is DeCesare possibly playing a little defense for his teammate, because I think if he thinks Wilkie gets out there, and DeCesare's going to hold him off. What a move by DeCesare in that 0-0. That was an amazing move, but that's allowed Mike Watts to catch back up.
It has. It's only a matter of time here, but we talked about patience and all that. I think patience has gone out the window for Wilkie. He wants to get around him, and he's going to do everything he can.
We will get a replay of that incident as soon as we have an opportunity to, but we don't want to leave this action. Right now it's DeCesare, Wilkie, and Mike Watts battling for second position, Dean. And I wish I had another camera, because we got a great battle going on for 5th place, 6th place too. But we're going to focus on the lead battle right now. Wilkie trying to get a move through the Audi S-Volts, heading into Ari Lyondike.
Yeah, and he's backed off a bit here. He's going to let those tires cool down, and he's in the dirt.
He's in the dirt, and that's going to cost him a spot to Watts. So the guy he worked for about 5 laps to get around, he's going to have to work back by him.
So Wilkie a little out of sorts here, perhaps not the practice time that he needs. He's an incredibly fast driver, but a little track rust perhaps hurting him here.
These guys, no quarter given in this race, Dean, for these guys. I love it. These guys, nothing egregious, nothing out of line, but they're definitely racing hard, and they know how important it is to get that track position when they have the opportunity to. But all while this is going on, Matt Koontz has checked out, and I mean checked out.
Yeah, he's clear checked out. 10-second gap now by our leader. Clear track. None of these hassles you're seeing our other guys deal with, and he's taking full advantage, and he needs to. There are fast guys here, and they will get clear track at some point.
While all that was going on, Donnie Staubitz has given up the position to Tony Solari, so move Solari up to 6th place. That was going into Chiviak. That's where his passing zone is, that triple apex corner you're talking about there, and Wilkie's off track. Or did we lose him?
Something has happened to Wilkie.
His internet has given up the ghost for Josh Wilkie. It looks like a technical failure for Wilkie. He is nowhere on the track to be seen.
Wow, that's heartbreaking for Wilkie, but we always say, you know, one man's downfall, another man's opportunity here. That's going to give DeCesare a little breathing room, and it's going to give Watts that clear track that he needs to try and catch up to him. Behind them, you got Bergdorf right there, then Solari and Staubitz. Brubaker being hounded by Lane Allen.
That's where the battle is. You see back there William Reinhardt and Joe Flanagan, those guys right on the edge. But yes, Josh Wilkie has dropped connection. He is on pit road, so he will be, looks like he might have been able to rejoin.
Wow, that's just heartbreaking. I mean, this is not NASCAR. You do not get a caution you do not to get to catch back up. It's all hard work for him, and he's going to have to come from 13th place and try and get some of these spots back.
But that's where pit strategy could come in, Dean. I mean, you saw last week, you had some guys take tires, some guys that didn't take tires. That could be something that we look at as this race goes on.
You can make up a ton of time, and it just depends on that tire wear. We've seen that now it seems a little more prevalent than it used to be. So going with no tires towards the end of your second run could be a little dangerous.
Well, right now we are 15 minutes into this race. We've had non-stop action from this entire beginning of this race on. Right now, Mike Watts is actually inching up to Nick Dicesare, and that is a battle for second place. You jump on board with that Ferrari, and you can see he's just so smooth through the Audi S curves, not out of shape through there, and he's been patient. He's had to fend off a lot of hard battles in this race, and that Ferrari has done very well to do so.
Absolutely. Done a great job out there so far. Nice and smooth driving for him. He's slowly making up some time. And in the meantime, William Reinhardt has made his way past Joe Flanagan, so put him back up to 9th. He's trying to recover from an early problem.
I spoke to Joe Flanagan earlier today. He was in Savannah, Georgia in traffic. He was on vacation last week, missed some races, but wanted to make it back for this race, and didn't think he was going to make it, but he was able to get in the server with 10 minutes to spare. So Flanagan's still trying to get up to speed, I'm sure. He did get some practice in last week, but it's not the same kind of track conditions. Solari's off track again, but he's hit some cones, and Solari, my goodness, he went off track on the straightaway.
Wow. Solari a little out of shape there. Allen's by, Brewpacker's by. So Solari back to 8th place. And he's around.
Oh, and he's hit the fence. He's going to get that thing going again.
He is stuck, Jared. He's finally got it backed up a little bit. Looked like he was in a mud hole or something. Now he's coming back on track.
Well, Dean, is that a situation where you're in a good spot and you're running hard, and you have a good car, and you just may have just overdriven it past the limits a little bit here? That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. And the other thing I would say is this track is so demanding. We talked about it. Different style of turns, different elevations. You've got to be on the ball all the time. Sometimes you get a little bit of room on the track, and you take a breath, and you just can't breathe here. There's no breathing allowed. You've got to stay focused each and every turn.
We've seen Scott Page go off a couple times in that 77 for Soggy Bottom Boys Racing, and Tony Solari is going to get on the inside of him, heading into Kumo, and or is he? Nope. Yes, he is. He's going to get it done, and Solari is going to have to work his way back, but he's dropped all the way back 39 seconds. He's got Darren Snyder 7 seconds ahead of him, and Joe Flanagan a further 13 seconds ahead of him. So those were where we're at right now. And you see Reinhardt has gotten around Flanagan, as Dean mentioned earlier. The battle right now, Lane Allen dropped off the back of Jari Brewpascher, and Brewpascher is actually starting to put some good laps together. The Swissman is catching up to Donnie Staubitz for 5th place.
Yeah, Brewpascher and Bergdorf, the two fastest guys outside of our leader, and they're almost matching our leader at this point. So these two are really on the move here.
And we saw last year and Donnie Staubitz has gone off track.
And Allen going to get hung up behind them there, I think.
Not going to allow Brewpascher through very easily. And now the teammates, Blackwater teammates, Staubitz and Lane Allen, going to be battling for 6th.
And we'll see how well he recovers here. Donnie's got to regain his focus immediately. He definitely does not want to hold up his teammate, but he also doesn't want to let him by. So he's got to get his focus and his rhythm back here.
And Dean, is this, you talked about it a lot, and I know you haven't ran this track, but I mean, as a spectator, you were talking about how demanding this track is. Is it just something that may have kind of caught these guys by surprise? I mean, this is not a track that you see a lot in the iRacing servers, or at least this version of the track is usually the smaller versions for the Skip Barbers and things like that. It's just everybody's a little bit surprised by the demands that this track's putting on.
I mean, a little bit as far as, how much practice they got in, but I don't think that's the case. I just think this is what this style of track it produces. You're going to, it's going to make the cream rise to the top. And when I say the cream, we're 20 minutes in to an hour and a half long race. We haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till they start to, fatigue a little bit physically and mentally. It's demanding each and every turn. Within the turn, it changes. You got banking on some, not on others. It is so tricky out here. These guys just got to be mentally focused for an hour and a half. And quite frankly, that's just undoable sometimes.
And right now, Dan, let's check back in on the second place battle. Nick Dicesare, the Connecticut native, trying to hold off Mike Watts, the Texan, behind him. And all of a sudden, you look in the background, you got Eric Bergdorf catching into this group. We're going to have a 3-car battle. Eric Bergdorf, I mean, he could be a driver, Dean, that I think that you're going to like in this series, a guy that's managing his stuff and is like, I'm going to turn the same lap time the entire race instead of trying to go blistering fast at the beginning. And all of a sudden, he's starting to catch up to these guys.
I love it. I love the fact that he's brewing beer, that he's racing his country's flag there, and I love his driving style. He is driving that steady speed, and it's starting to catch up. Him third fastest that lap or the lap before, because Watts was actually a little faster than him even. But these two are starting to fly around here and starting to become more and more consistent.
Eric, well known for doing a great job of not putting his car in bad positions, taking what the car will give him, and he is catching up to Watts and Dicesare, right now listed as the third fastest driver on the track. The fastest was actually our man Donnie Staubitz, who we've talked a lot about. Lane Allen picked him by just a little bit there, but those guys really throwing down some good lap times toward the back of the pack. Dicesare actually one of the slowest on track.
Yeah, very interesting dynamic happening here on tire wear, different cars, different fuel loads perhaps. Hard to say what's causing the changing in times, but also these two teammates, Staubitz and Allen, we talked about Staubitz having to regain. He doesn't want to have to let Lane Allen by, so he's got something to prove. Lane Allen's getting better and better. He's got something to prove. And they're two of the fastest guys on the track right now.
And that's something we've seen out of Lane Allen before, as a guy that can get things done and as the race goes on. Doesn't push some stuff too much. And just got word from Josh Wilkie, computer failure, it crashed. So that is what happened to Josh Wilkie, and that's unfortunate. That is the worst part about online racing, but it is part of it, just like in real life where, a gas line could break.
Yeah, the Wolfman is out. That is very unfortunate there for Wilkie. We expected big things from him tonight, and he will be back, no doubt about it.
They put in a lot of time, and the Canadian definitely will be back for hometown heroes racing. But right now, I don't feel like we talked about Matt Koontz enough, but he's got a almost 15-second lead in that very racing number 69 machine. And he is just continuing to blister the field. And this is a big early points implications because he finished second to his teammate last week, and his teammate Dominic Watkins-Glenn. This week he's trying to get the points. So Dicesare doesn't want to finish third place here tonight because that could mean he's going to lose that point lead.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fight for every point in every position. But back on to Koontz, I'm a little worried about Koontz. He's been out here alone for a long time. We talked a lot about the mental side of it. This is where the mind starts to wander. Again, we're only 23 minutes in. He's got over an hour to go. Can he remain focused even though there's nothing to see but track out here for him? I mean, if you ever driven down the highway, Jared, where there's no signs, there's no homes, and it's all flat land, boy, oh boy, it's pretty easy to just fall asleep out there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I wouldn't exactly say this is flat lands out here at Zandvoort, but I definitely get what you're saying. But, man, Nick Dicesare, I'm just kind of surprised at the pace that Ford is showing today as we got a battle on the track. Lane Allen has conceded a spot coming out of Ari Leindijk to William Reinhardt, who continues to make his way forward, Dean.
Something must have happened because Lane Allen was all over Donnie Staubitz just a lap or two ago. I looked back and now he's fallen back, so I'm thinking he pushed a little wide on a corner. That allowed Reinhardt, but Reinhardt also a great driver, and he's only going to get better as this race goes on.
And that's Lane Allen locks up going into Hugenholtz. And you see right there, Reinhardt's catching up to Staubitz and Jari Brupascher. That's a battle for 5th place, but there's still 4 cars battling for a top 5 position. Amazing racing on the track tonight, and despite having some drivers with some technical issues out of the race already. But Dean, you look at this race, and back up front, we have to talk about it. Dicesare, his pace is just, you know, what I was going to say is I'm kind of surprised that his pace is not where it was like we saw at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we're all really surprised, but it's all about seat time at this track, and maybe he didn't get enough of it in, but, you know, he's a little bit off. It's that Bergdorf, I'm telling you, he is on, Jared. He is consistently one of the fastest cars out here. Now stuck in traffic, he's got to find a way by Watts and Dicesare. That's no easy task.
And he is our second biggest mover of the race. Staubitz and Brewpascher both up 5 positions, Bergdorf up 4. So these guys, and again, Dean, you know, if you look at his best lap is a 134.10, and his last lap is a 135 flat. You look at some of these other drivers, Watts at 134.2. His last lap was a 135.9. I mean, you know, you talk about the inconsistencies. Bergdorf has pretty much turned the same lap all race.
Oh, and Reinhardt got around Donnie Staubitz there somehow, but you're exactly right, because I was looking at that Donnie Staubitz. He's got a similar telemetry between the laps, depending on which lap you look at, I guess. But there, Reinhardt on the move. Watch out for him.
Let's take a look and see what happened with Donnie Staubitz. So Donnie Staubitz, the first thing we're going to see here is he's going to make a big move down into Shiviak on, this is the Audi S-Curves, Jari Brewpascher through the gravel trap, and that's going to allow Staubitz and Reinhardt to get around him. And then we're going to watch Donnie Staubitz, or William Reinhardt, get underneath Donnie Staubitz. This is coming into, looks like, Ari Leyendyk up on the front straightaway, and just got the toe, Dean, down into turn 1, and was able to get around him.
Yeah, great move by Reinhardt there. That's how you got to get these done. And you can see, if you're watching Reinhardt now live, and between him and Staubitz, just the difference in line that they're approaching these corners, vastly different approach.
Look out the back, and you'll see it. Going through the Audi S-Curves, you're looking out the back of that Ford GT, and Dean, you're exactly right. These guys, a little bit different line, and road course racing is all about line. And we've seen Donnie do a really good, Reinhardt's off again! And he
For
pushed
the second time tonight, Jared, he will have to recover. Reinhardt, fast, but can't stay on the track.
Can't put any of those tires off, and I'm kind of surprised he didn't pit. I might have tried to go ahead and pit and make up some time that way, but that is unfortunate for Reinhardt. Just pushed it a little bit too hard there, but he's only going to drop to 9th, so not as far back as it was before. But man, he is a guy that's just pushing it to the limits. You got to give him that.
I do give him that. He might be our new Mr. Excitement, Jared. I don't know, because we're going to see him try and come through the field once again. But I'm looking up at 2nd and 3rd place right now. Again, these guys still slugging it out, as Watts doing a great job with hanging with Dicesare, but he just can't find it to get close enough to make a move.
So right now it's Koontz, Dicesare, and Watts, your top 3. Then we got Bergdorf, Staubitz, and Brewpascher, your next 3, and that's been a great battle for 5th place. But the battle right now is for 2nd place. Bergdorf with a great run off the corner, and he is up on the back of Watts heading into the Audi S Bowl.
Yeah, Bergdorf is the best of these 3 right now at this time in this run, but pit stops are imminent. We are at the 28-minute marker. I'm expecting guys to come down within the next lap or 2.
Yeah, you're about 30 or so laps. William Reinhardt has gone off track again. Or no, so yeah, he did. In the Audi S-Bowl, that's going to allow Joe Flanagan to get around him. We also have Tony Solari trying to catch back up. He's been off track a couple times tonight. But man, oh man, this has been a heck of a battle for 2nd place. You can see just how close these are. These 3 drivers are pretty much under a blanket for a road course.
Yeah, amazing racing. And, you know, before pit stops commence, I just want to shout out Koontz again. I don't know if we can go on board with Koontz. He is just doing such an amazing job with this vehicle. We're not slacking off from him. We remember him. We know he's out here putting on a show. He just hasn't had any competitors around him, so we don't get a chance to cover him a lot.
Exactly right. And Koontz has disappeared from my screen. Did he have something? Oh, no. Okay, sorry. He is still there.
Yeah, we just seen him there. Just taking a late apex there, get those big runs. It seems to it really helps him. I mean, every corner is a little different. Some short apex, some long apex, but he seems to have it nailed down tonight.
jump on board again. You see him, he's coming through Kumo into Ari Leyendyke, and just so smooth. I mean, you can just hear him on that throttle, allows that car to come up to speed down the straightaway, and that Porsche is really humming right now.
Man, is it ever? And you see the RPMs touching 9,000 there momentarily. I mean, you just hear how he gets back on that gas, dude. It's just unbelievable job by Koontz.
Very smooth, and Koontz has always been a smooth driver. And when you're running the lap times he's doing, he's just now hitting the 135s. And this is 30 minutes into the race, so that tells you everything you need to know about how Matt Koontz is doing.
How about the last lap for Dicesare, though? I mean, a 34.6. So he, picked up 0.7 of a second on our leader there. All three of these guys back here doing a great job.
Well, Dean, is that a situation in which, we got Jari Brewpasher off track, and he just barely went off. That's going to allow Lane Allen to get around him. So Lane Allen pouncing, and Lane Allen up to 6th place.
Yeah, Lane Allen was already up here once and had a little minor issue, but he's got it back together now, taking advantage there. This is great before pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. We were thinking somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes these guys will come in to the pits. And I'm surprised nobody's taken the undercut yet. But with it being cooler conditions than it was yesterday in practice, that could have something to do with it too. The fuel mileage might be a little bit different than what we saw yesterday.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Jared. Now, as we approach, 31 and a half minutes here, it looks like they're doing a one-stopper. So are you sure they're going to be a two-stopper here?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Dean. I know I talked to a few drivers last night, and they said that they thought it was going to be a two-stopper, but maybe they're just pushing this thing a little bit further than initially that I thought that they could, or they think that they could.
Very interesting for sure, because if in fact it is a two-stopper, I would be almost disappointed that nobody is short pitted at this point.
Ooh, Mike Watts with some connection issue there, but Nick Dicesare started to pull a gap finally from Mike Watts, but now Eric Bergdorf is all over the back bumper of that Ferrari.
Dicesare is laying down some incredibly fast laps right now. He has found his groove. It's taken a while, but perhaps he didn't get the seat time. Now he's getting it a half hour in, and he's starting to really motor around here.
I talked to Nick last night, and he was experimenting because, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, some updates that iRacing put out to these GTE cars. He was experimenting with the Corvette, experimenting with the Porsche. And I think maybe he just put a lot of time into those cars and didn't put a lot of time into the Ford, which is what he ended up going with.
Very well could be. These cars are vastly different brakes on them, different, suspension types or whatever. So, different power units. It's all completely different. And I think that's what you're seeing. A half hour in, he's up to speed now, and he's going to start matching our leader, perhaps beating him. So we might have a race yet. There is a 16-second gap, though.
And this pit road, we said we'd talk about it, but my goodness, it is a big challenge for these drivers. Bergdorf's going to get a run on Mike Watts going down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Can the Corvette make a move on the Ferrari? No. Watts is going to hold on.
Watts doing a great job holding on, but it's not over yet. This is going to keep going on, and I'm thinking Bergdorf is the best out of these two. He just needs to find that area, and that triple right-hander is where I like to move. Get inside position there. You've got 3 corners to get it done.
Yeah, Shaviak into Marlboro, definitely going to be the passing opportunity, as that's where they're coming up on now. Bergdorf didn't get a good run out of Hugenholtz, and that's going to cost him some time down to Shaviak. And you see there, Watts another connection blip there. It's just not close enough to make that move like we saw Tony Solari do earlier in the race.
Yeah, it's something you've got to set up several corners prior, get yourself that great run and get up there. And, this gap he's got here might allow him to do that inadvertently without even trying. If he can close this gap.
Donnie Staubitz and Jari Brewpasher, something may have happened between the two drivers. Dean, sorry to cut you off. One's in the sand trap, one's in the wall.
Showing Donnie on the track here.
Let's take a replay here and see what happened to these drivers. So here we go. Brewpasher behind Lane Allen. Going into Shiviak. Nothing yet. And then he's gonna. He gets on the brakes, and it's two separate incidents. So he gets on the brakes, gets in the grass, and spins into the sand trap. In front of them, Donnie Staubitz goes off track and hits that wall just after Shiviak there into the tire barriers for the 99.
And Bergdorf is in, so the 88, Eric Bergdorf, our first taker on pit road, has come in. Behind him, it looks like Brewpacker coming in as well. Maybe that Brewpacker. Flanagan is in.
So Joe Flanagan, Eric Bergdorf have conceded and going in early, and they would not be able to make it from here. Donnie Staubitz off track again, and hard impact for the 99.
And he has gone to the pits with that impact. Donnie Staubitz, tough night for him.
And just all unwound in the last 5 minutes. Here he goes. Let's see what happened. He's going in. He just clips the inside, Dean, on that grass, and the car just can't slow down, and then into Hugenholtz. That's a tough spot. Hard into the tire barriers there, and that 99 car might be done for the night.
Well, we're only just over a third of the race through. We talk about how demanding it is, Jared. You're going to see more of this as this race goes on. You've got to remain focused no matter how painful it is, physically and mentally. Koontz is in.
So Koontz is in, and we can confirm that Flanagan and Bergdorf fuel only on that first pit stop.
Fuel only. Interesting call by those two. I don't know if it's the right one or not. We've seen before tires early, no tires late. Kind of worked out well for guys. And we're seeing already as these lights are on, it seems like the track is getting a little dark. Are we going into darkness tonight, Jared?
Should not be going into darkness. Let's take a look at the time here. It is only noon, if you can believe that. It's just how cloudy it is here at the track.
Okay, interesting. My mistake. Don't know when I'm waking up or when I'm going to bed. Koontz is off and going though, but guess who your leader is? William Reinhardt, still out on the track, leading this thing right now.
Koontz is going to come out in front of Jari Brewpasher, who has elected not to pit. Solari, Mike Watts, all in. Darren Snyder is going to elect to stay out. So we got some drivers. And Dean, I was looking at Darren Snyder's lap times, not great lap times, and I just wonder if Darren Snyder could be one of these guys that's thinking, I could do this on one stop if I save some fuel.
Snyder, we haven't got a chance to talk about him tonight. What a great race car driver, number 13 out here, looking nice and smooth, and he just might. I mean, you're talking about 8 more minutes. That's not long. A few more laps here, and he'll have her done. That's
right. That would be a very interesting, very, very interesting. And you see his profile picture there is a dirt late model of some sort. So Darren Snyder might do some real racing in his spare time there when he's not obviously participating in the SimRacingPoints Sportscar Challenge.
Exactly.
Right now it is Reinhardt, and he's got to make a pit stop, Dean. And I just wonder if he should have made. Koontz deep into the Audi S-Bolt, not very clean at all through that section. I thought he was going to go off, holds it on the track, but I just wonder if Reinhardt should have taken that opportunity to pit earlier when he went off track. And my goodness, Koontz is only 4.5 seconds back now.
Well, Reinhardt coming in now. Yeah, I like your call on when he should have pitted when he had that problem. But Koontz going to reassume the lead here.
Ooh, Brewpasher did not know there was that type of chicane there. Might have made some contact with the inside pit wall there, but he's good to go. But right now, Dean, I'm looking as this is going to get updated here in just a second. Nick Dicesare has gained 4 seconds on Matt Koontz in that pit stop.
Yeah, he definitely, that earlier pit stop has helped and got him out here. Another interesting tidbit, Tony Solari, now he is well back and well behind the guys even in front of him, but he did take 4 tires by the looks of it, so that's interesting. It looks like Reinhardt and Brewpacker taking tires too.
And you see it there, and the car is lifted. Now, we're obviously not going to be able to see the tire changes, but if the car is lifted, that means they are definitely taking tires. So very interesting call. But, Dina, I want to take real quick a look, and something we talk about a lot in our oval stuff, but pit time and pit lane time. Look at the difference between Koontz and Dicesare. Koontz, a 44.5 pit lane time. Dicesare, a 37.9 pit time. 21.6, Dicesare at 15.6. Dicesare might not have taken a lot of fuel.
Right, and this is what we talk.
Oh, Reinhardt's off.
Right out of the pits on cold tires, 2 guys.
Almost into Darren Snyder there. Snyder had to take evasive action.
Snyder got loose on his own as well, I believe, prior to that. So, very interesting, those cold tires, not liking whatever those guys are doing to them.
Well, this is a cold track, and you guys may have seen it, and we'll bring it up again for you here. But it is not a warm track today. As you can tell by how dark it is, it's very cloudy in the Netherlands here today. And you'll see there, it is right now only 84 track temp. That is pretty cold to get those tires working.
You know, back to those pit stops. You talk about Dicesare with that 15.5. Okay, that 15.5, that is almost definitely less fuel. And we talked about it. Who's going to think about it? Who's going to do these type of things? Looks like he's the only guy who didn't sit there and just fill his tank. So he's thought it through, said, I don't need that fuel, all that fuel to get to my next pit stop. This is going to help him. He's going to, not only has he learned how to drive the track over the last half hour, he's going to have a lighter fuel load. I think you're going to see him be the fastest on the track here after about 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah, that's going to be super interesting if he didn't run those tires off. But he has definitely increased that gap to Mike Watts, who also increased the gap to Bergdorf. Bergdorf pitted first out of this entire group, but that undercut did not pay off for the 88 machine, and he has lost time to Mike Watts despite having pretty much the same pit lane time and pit time.
The other thing is Solari now on fresh rubber. He's right behind Reinhardt and Brewpacker. I think they have fresh rubber as well. So those three should be moving forward at some point during this run.
Solari just did a 134.8. So that machine cooking right now and back in 10th place. And I like the call, especially when you're that far back. You don't have anything to lose. I mean, you might lose a position or two. But this is a very interesting decision to see if that can work out.
Well, absolutely. Now you can run this tank down as low as you want. You come in, take only the amount of fuel you need, continue to be fast. Other guys may find they have to stop for tires. I got a feeling this will be a net win for all three of these guys.
Right now, we look at some of these other drivers we haven't talked about. Dwayne Allen has made it into the top 5, but right behind him is Joe Flanagan. Oh, somebody's off.
Lane Allen into the dirt a little bit and then almost into the tire wall. He saves it unbelievably. Some great driving / bad driving that got him into that problem.
And he did a wonderful job. We just caught the end of it there, and he held on to that machine. And my goodness. But these two veterans, Lane Allen, Joe Flanagan, with these pit stops have been able to push themselves up into the back half of the top 10.
Yeah, the early strategy has swung their way. We'll see if it pays off in the long run or not. Right now it's Dicesare. I'm not sure he's making up time here, but he's matching. I think he was faster last lap on Koontz.
200ths of a second. That's not quite going to get you that 14 seconds back. But
it's a start.
It's a start. Let's see what it is this time by. We'll take a look at the time delta here. You'll see it. Yeah, he lost time on that lap, Dean.
But he's closer. I mean, he was a good second off at the start of the race. So he's made progress all race long. Look for it to continue. I mean, I don't know if he can make up this kind of time on Koontz or not, but he's going to solidify second place, which he's doing, opening up almost a 6-second gap to Mike Watts.
Watts has actually pulled back just a little bit over the last couple of laps. Not enough to make it a big noticeable difference, but Jari Brewpascher off track. And he has gone off in the Audi S-Volt again, and he is going to drop to the second to last driver running. So a tough night for the 89 machine, who's been all the way up into 5th place and has been as low as 13th in this race. Lane Allen's off track as well.
What about the last lap for Tony Solari with that fresh rubber? A 134 flat. That's a 1.5 seconds better than our leader almost.
Man, he's a minute 12 behind. Let's take a look at the track map, and you'll see where Tony Solari is compared to our leader. So here's Tony Solari heading into Hugenholtz, and our leader, Matt Koontz, is coming onto the start-finish line. So Solari is almost a three-quarters of a lap down, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about catching the leader for Tony right now, but he is on this strategy. He's going to catch Reinhardt here, or at least follow Reinhardt. If Reinhardt can stay on the track, they're going to catch Page at some point. They're going to work their way towards Flanagan and Allen. Remember, they've taken tires. Reinhardt and Solari will not have to take tires again if they choose not to. Others probably will.
Solari PB, that last personal best, 133.89. That is the second best lap of the entire race. Koontz, the only one faster at a 132.9. So Solari has the speed. Can he get going? Scott Page off in the grass, and that's not a good spot to be off in. Very, very bad area in the Audi S bolts. He's gonna have to wait until Solari goes by, and he's gonna get going now. But that Audi S bolt area has really caught some drivers off. He's still squirming.
But a great job of staying there, waiting for those cars to go on by. Oh no! It's Solari into the inside wall, touching the dirt, spinning down, hitting the wall. Heavy damage for Tony Solari.
My goodness, let's take a look and see what happened. We stay on board. He's going to lose 2 spots as we were on board with him. 2, Page and Brewed. Let's take a look and see. Dean, we saw this happen with Donnie Staubitz. This is the same exact thing that happened to Donnie Staubitz. Just clip that inside grass, or out and clip the inside, got out there into the sand trap. Same thing that happened to William Reinhardt. These guys using every inch of the track, and just a little bit too much for all of them.
Yeah, what a shame. He was really moving. In the meantime, Page right in front of him, being a very aggressive with William Reinhardt, and he couldn't hold the corner. He had a pass made, but couldn't hold the corner. Allowed Reinhardt to come back. These three are going to do some heavy battling here.
I think that was Brewpasher in the Ferrari there, if I'm not mistaken, the yellow Ferrari.
They're catching. Page is out front. My mistake there. I thought that was Reinhardt. So it's Page, Brubacher, and Solari in this mix.
That's the battle for 8th. At the same time that's going on, we're going to have to get a replay on this, Dean, but we got a change for 3rd position.
Bergdorf looking great out there.
So here we go. So Bergdorf, this is coming up into Kumho, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, coming out of Arie Luyendyk into Kumho, down the front straightaway, and Bergdorf, we saw him try this move earlier, didn't get it done. This time the Chevy is going to win out against the Ferrari.
He has looked good, better and better all race long. Beautiful car out here, and he's putting that power down. Again, one of our sponsors here for this race. Gotta love what he's doing on track.
Asphalt Motorsports, Hard Dicks, Hoppin Ale, and Spirit of America Racing all collaborating to bring us the broadcast you see in front of you here tonight. But Eric Bergdorf might have gotten around Mike Watts, but Mike Watts is coming back at him right now.
Yeah, there's no give up in Watts. He's not going to let him walk away. He's going to challenge him here. He's not going to allow him to, just take smooth, lazy lines. He's going to have to fight and defend this spot for at least a few laps here.
So Watts is there again. This is coming up into Arie Luyendyk down the front straightaway. Watts with a great run, but just not good enough through Arie Luyendyk. Going down into turn 1, Bergdorf is going to hold him off for now.
I don't know, he's peeking. He took a peek. He was thinking about trying to outbrake him, and he is sticking that nose in there. He wants that spot back bad. This is some great racing.
Great racing, heading up into Gerlach, into Hugenholtz, and here we go. And Watts not going to be close enough, but Bergdorf goes in a little bit deep. Not going to get the run off of Hugenholtz that he probably needs, heading into Rob Slotmaker.
Too many corner names for me, Jared. But this is some awesome racing. I've liked Eric Bergdorf all night long. I think he's he's one of the great drivers out here. Smooth lines. Haven't talked about him being off track too much, if at all. And he's just, 3rd place right now. Dicesare ahead of him, and Koontz still leading.
Yeah, Koontz, Bergdorf, and Watts, the only 3 drivers, with Joe Flanagan, unsurprisingly, with no off tracks or incidents in this race. doing a great job.
Flanagan, known for his clean laps, and look what it's produced for him. He's not particularly fast tonight. He's in 6th place. Just keeping it smooth, keeping it on track, and doing, you know, a journeyman's job out here.
Yeah, and when you have limited practice, I mean, you may have limited expectations, and you're kind of going to damage control mode. Is that correct? Try to get what you can get.
Absolutely. Take what the car will give you and let others make mistakes. And there are plenty of them out here making mistakes. You look at Reinhardt behind him, Page, Brewpacker, all these guys, Solari, all have made mistakes. That's allowed Flanagan up here. I wouldn't be surprised if he grabs a couple of more. Heck, he might end up on the podium.
Yeah, he could. And we have a big battle for 8th place. Brewpacker around Page, and Page is going to look back underneath of him. These guys, and Solari has not been able to get around either of these drivers. I don't know if that car is damaged to the point where he's not able to get the runs he needs, or if he's just not able to get around these guys just in general.
Well, with these kind of moves being made amongst these two, there's no room, but he's going to make a move now. Solari got position here.
It's coming down into Kumo, and Page on the rumble strip. Yep, and he's going to have to concede. Solari going to take the advantage going into Lyondike onto the front straightaway.
You know, I said he had position. He didn't really have position, but he had the speed, and he got around. Great job by Tony. I mean, if he can recover from that wreck for a good finish here tonight, that would be a great job by him.
Yeah, he still has those fresh tires. So he didn't lock it down too much, enough to damage the tires. So I think that he's going to be okay. But right now, we got to talk about Matt Koontz. The guy has led every lap so far. He's got the best lap, and we are 50 minutes in to a 90-minute race. We're past halfway. We got another pit stop. These guys pitted around 35 minutes in. So you do the math, Dean. We were talking around 70 minutes to go, or 70 minutes into the race. They're going to have to pit again.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all kinds of strategies open for these guys. Whether they'll take them or not, I don't know. Short pits, long pits, shorter amount of fuel, tires, no tires. There's lots of decisions, but if I'm Koontz, I mean, geez, just thinking about it right now, Jared, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say take tires with this big lead. He's got a 20-second lead. He could take tires and still be and he blows a corner.
Oh, he's off the track. In the grass trap, or in the sand trap, and that is down there in, I'm not exactly sure where that is at. And we take a look at the track map here to cheat a little bit. That was in Vodafone that he went off. Not a track, not an area we've seen people go off in tonight.
So he lost about 4 seconds there, and this kind of changes just what I was talking about, right? He had 20 seconds, could allow him to get tires. Now he's back in that 16-second range. He's got Dicesare. He's getting better and better as the race goes on. I don't know. It's such a tough call for Koontz. I'm thinking he's going to take rubber, though.
What I'm liking right now, Dean, we talked about him. We've talked about him a lot. Eric Bergdahl was a second faster than Nick Dicesare that last lap. He's coming. He could easily challenge for second spot.
He is. He's coming. Reinhardt out there as the fastest guy on the track right now, so he's coming as well.
Reinhardt now right at a minute behind our race leader. He's about 15 seconds behind Joe Flanagan and Lane Allen, who are just ahead in 5th and 6th. So Reinhardt could easily recover for a podium finish here tonight. It's going to take some work, though.
Going to take a ton of work, and no more off tracks for him. He has to keep it pointed in the right direction.
Jump on board Lane Allen coming down that long front straightaway. And Lane Allen just one incident tonight. So, I mean, he's had just a little one off-track excursion, but that beautiful Corvette doing a great job. 5th place. This is kind of a Lane Allen type race.
Well, and he's got clear track, right? And Lane Allen, this is what he likes, right? To run his line, nobody really pestering him. He can just get around this track, run solid lap after solid lap. He's not going to blister times, but he's not going to be, I imagine they're going to be very consistent. So he's doing a marvelous job here in 5th place.
And just behind him, about 3 seconds back, is Joe Flanagan. Now, Joe Flanagan was about a second faster than Lane Allen that last lap. So we can have some accordion effect as I go on board the Concertina player's car right now between several drivers in this race.
Absolutely. I mean, Joe Flanagan continuing to improve. Another guy, you talked about it, probably didn't have enough seat time, but he's finding some speed. He's been clean all race, him and Lane Allen. Now finding the ability to speed up a bit. He's got Lane Allen in his sights. Will that change his driving at all?
William Reinhardt, by the way, did the fastest lap last time, 134.4. So William Reinhardt. And there we go. Well, we saw him, Dean. He took less fuel. We knew he was going to have to pit quickly. Is that strategy going to pay off? Because we are right at the 35-minute or 35-minute mark in this race to go.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Go ahead and say it's not going to pay off for him. He just didn't close enough of a gap to make it work out. Right now, sitting in the pits does not look like he's going to take tires. So he'll. Oh, and they
Carr
go
races.
up. He is taking tires.
And now, I think this changes things. I think this brings William Reinhardt back into play.
It brings a lot of guys back into play. Reinhardt did take tires last time, so he probably will not this time. A lot of shakeup going to happen here, and it happened last time we were broadcasting 3 weeks ago today, and I think we'll see it again.
Nick Dicesare has dropped all the way to 8th place. Tony Solari has now gone around him. Jari Brewpasher's gone around him. Dechesary's still in the pits. He's leaving now. That is a lot of time, 48.1 seconds. Still the quickest tire change. Oh, Bergdorf put a ties in the grass in the S-bolt. And Watts has got around him. He's made his first mistake of the race, and it's a crucial one.
Wow, the 88 making a mistake. I didn't think I'd see it tonight. That's going to really hurt him badly here.
Let's see what happened, Dean. And you see him. He's coming down the back straightaway here. And that S-bolt, the Audi S-bolt, catches some people out. And what happens, he's great on entry. Oh, he locks up the brakes, just barely gets it out in the grass, into the sand, and then can't get the car turned around in that tight corner. He does whack the wall a little bit. But he's gotten back by Mike Watts, who's coming to pit road. And Koontz.
Koontz are both in. Koontz taking tires as well. So interesting. Not only, they'll have fresh tires, but they also got to be wary those first couple laps on cold tires. As you see Watts' car go up as well, he's taking tires. So all this playing into Reinhardt's hands right now.
Lane Allen in. Matt Koontz is down and away, so Reinhardt's not going to be able to pass Matt Koontz, but that gap is 3 seconds. But he's still got to make a pit stop. So it brings him back into play for a top 5 for sure. Don't know if it plays him back into a win. Bergdorf's still out there, 15 seconds ahead of Flanagan. Flanagan did not take tires, nor did Bergdorf. So those guys are going to have to take tires this time. Or like we talked to Joe Flanagan last week, he didn't take tires at the end. And it paid off for him. He got a 3rd place when he was running 6th all night.
These guys with their pit lane times are just phenomenally long for our leaders. Koontz with a 1 minute and 2 seconds. Reinhardt and Brewpacker, when they came in, were 1 minute 11. So those are long pit stops, Jared, getting those tires.
Yeah, and the reason being, for those that Brewpasher off. That is going into Kumo, and he is up the hill, and that's going to be a tough spot for him to get out. He's going to have to reverse down the hill and hope nobody comes. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, what a move getting back on the track. Aggressive, smooth. I love it. What a move.
As a league admin, you always quiver when you see somebody back down the hill like that, but he successfully did it. And Jari putting on a show. Probably not the way he wants to put on a show, but he got it going.
Wow. So Bergdorf leading this, even with that off track that he had. He does need to pit, though. He's got a long pit ahead of him. Flanagan up to 2nd now, and Koontz back here in 3rd, but will assume the lead. I mean, Koontz is going to have to beat himself. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I think all these other things that have kind of gone on. I mean, Tony Solari, 8 seconds ahead of Cesare. He's probably not going to be in play. But William Reinhardt is 22 seconds ahead of Nick Dicesare. He doesn't have to take tires if he doesn't want to this time. Could he be in a position to leapfrog all the way to 2nd place, Dean?
It's possible. I mean, that's a hard sled. I don't think he can pit and stay in front of him. He's going to have to come out flying. He's going to have to take that right amount of fuel, the low amount of fuel, give him a little bit extra oomph out there so he can turn some great laps late in this race.
That is now about 40 seconds away from being into our final half hour. This race is, even though it's a timed race, it's gone super quick in my opinion with all the battles that have been going on. But now it's all about strategy, and it's all about who can pick the right strategies. We are at the hour mark. It is Eric Bergdorf leading in the number 88 machine with Joe Flanagan 15 seconds back. Those two drivers have not pitted, but again, we don't know how much fuel they took on those pit stops. I mean, they could have taken the maximum. Some of the other drivers may have taken less. So we'll have to see how this all goes. But we're expecting the 1 hour and 10-minute mark that everybody will have to pit by that time to make it to the end.
It's going to be interesting to say the least. Koontz also is going to have traffic the rest of this race on and off that he'll have to deal with. That'll play a bit of a factor as well. Solari is in.
Solari in the pits. You'll see it there on the top left. He is in pit lane. Watts and Dicesare will go by. Reinhardt has increased the gap to Dicesare, Dean. I was looking at this interval between these two drivers, and we'll bring it up on the screen, and you look, that interval is a good 22 seconds, 23 seconds now.
It is. And I mean, talk about Watts instead of Dicesare. Watts doing just a great job here. He has made his way in front of Dicesare during this race, and he's keeping this gap. Mike Watts, he's had a great race tonight.
Yeah, Watts with that undercut, able to jump ahead of Dicesare, and he has been faster than Dicesare for long parts of this race. Dicesare very good, and then kind of falls off, and now they're both on equal footing again. Can that Ferrari hold off the Ford? It reminds me of a movie, I think, that came out a few years ago.
You look at Watts' last lap, 134.2, fastest man on the track.
Just a little bit faster than Koontz, who's been the fastest guy every lap. Reinhardt did a 134.8. Bergdorf only doing 136s. He's still remaining out. Him and Joe Flanagan. And these guys are, as we talked about, I mean, up until Bergdorf went off track, very consistent, very smooth drivers. Maybe they're not using as much fuel.
It very well could be. Right now I'm checking in on Lane Allen in the 14. He's coming up on Darren Schneider and Jari Brupacher. And, he's got fresh rubber. I don't know how this is going to play out for him up here. He hasn't particularly done great in traffic. He's been doing a really good job when he's had a little bit of clear track.
Yeah, Lane Allen and Darren Schneider and Brupacher pitted on 24. Lane Allen pitted on 35. So about 11 lap newer tires there between those two drivers. So can Lane Allen make quick work of this and maybe put himself in a position to catch Nick Dicesare, because he's only about 13 seconds behind that double zero in a battle for what could be a podium position for Lane Allen.
Yeah, really nice job so far. And you can see him physically on the track closing in on Darren Schneider. What will happen when he gets there? Will Schneider try to fend him off? Will he move over? These things all count. It could cost you, that podium or that 4th or 5th place finish.
Now we're kind of in this waiting period here at the 90 minutes of the Netherlands here in the SimRacingPoints Sports Car Series. We see Joe Flanagan, Pepto Joe, heading in for Pepto Racing here. He's in the pits. Matt Koontz is going to go by, and that leaves Eric Bergdorf as the last man standing. But this race has had everything. Early on, we saw Wilkie battling with the race leaders. We had a great battle for second place. Dicesare was able to persevere in that battle. But now we are in the final third of this race. And right now, Bergdorf, how long will he stay out? Is there a strategy move to be played here? What about William Reinhardt, who also hasn't pitted since lap 24? What can he do? As you see Nick Dicesare go by Joe Flanagan. It will be all told here in the next 26 minutes, Dean.
Yeah, storylines are all going to come together here shortly. Flanagan, he's out here, no tires, quick pit stop, brings him up into 6th place. And we'll see if he can hold on or even improve. Others still have to pit, I believe.
Well,
Bergdorf anyway.
Yeah, so Bergdorf, Drew Posher, and Darren Snyder have not pitted, along with William Reinhardt. So we have 4 drivers that have not pitted yet. Now, does that mean they have to pit? I'm almost certain that they're going to have to pit, as these guys can only do about 38 minutes on fuel from what the math is showing. So you're talking in the next 8 minutes, Dean, that these guys are going to have to make their bed on and come down pit road.
They are. This is highly entertaining. Reinhardt now 5 seconds behind Koontz. He still has to pit. Bergdorf has to pit. He's got 22 seconds on Reinhardt. So those 3, and then you got Watts seconds back from our leader. After pit stops, I just don't know how this shakes out. It's very interesting.
Unfortunately, Brewpasher off track again in the down there in looks like the same place we saw some accidents earlier. So he is off track. He's going to drop to the end of this trail. Solari and Snyder and Allen both get around. But I wanted to bring up something, Dean. Joe Flanagan was behind Lane Allen. The fact that Joe Flanagan took those tires on the first pit stop, gave up that track position earlier, he's been able to go from a 4-second deficit to a 15-second lead over Lane Allen.
It's amazing. I mean, and I love the call. We seen it happen 3 weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure Flanagan did it then as well. And it just works so nicely. Why not, right? He's looking at a possible podium here if Watts and Dicesare, and early on in this race, he would have never thought it. I mean, we just talked about it maybe 20 minutes ago that, you know, what a great job he was doing moving his way into 7th or 6th place and how happy he might be with that. And an outside shot at a podium, it's looking more possible by the lap here.
And he is the only driver that has not taken tires in this race so far. Now, Bergdorf is in. He has the opportunity to not take tires here as well. And if I'm Eric Bergdorf, I'm probably not going to take tires, to be honest with you. Try to manage some track position. Let's see what he does here as Koontz goes by. So Koontz reassumes the lead. Reinhardt is going to go by. He has not pitted yet. I don't see that car lifting yet, Dean.
Yeah, I don't see him taking tires. He is not going to give up this track position, no matter how.
He did.
Oh, and he's going to. Man, why do they always have to make me wrong?
And earlier, I was going to explain what was going on. The iRacing system does not use the World Endurance Challenge rules, which allows you to take fuel and tires at the same time. They use the IMSA rules. So no matter what, the fueling goes first, then the tires go. So that's why we have those long pit stops like we have for those that may be familiar with sports car racing across the world. But right now, it's Koontz. Reinhardt, with a 22-second lead over Dicesare, still has to pit. And I'm surprised he hasn't. Dicesare has gotten around Mike Watts, and that happened while we were watching Bergdorf come into pit road. And we're going to get a quick replay and see what happened, how that happened.
Lane Allen gets by Bergdorf on the track, as does Joe Flanagan.
And again, this is a place we saw Dicesare make moves down into turn 1. He just kind of gets Watts kind of off his line and was able to make the pass. Easy peasy for the 0-0 of Nick Dicesare. And at the same time, as you saw, thanks to those pit stops, Flanagan and Allen have leapfrogged Eric Bergdorf. If Eric Bergdorf with fresh tires comes out right in the middle of this pack, can he make something happen and pass both of these drivers back?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, Bergdorf's been very, very good outside of one mistake tonight. Probably cost him a podium, and it might cost him more here. It's hard to say. Lane Allen's going to try and hold this spot for all he's worth. But, you know, Flanagan gained a spot there too. Now shown in 5th place. He's only 6 seconds behind Watts and 7 behind Dicesare.
And I got to say, what a move by Flanagan. The only driver, again, so far, he is now officially the only driver to have not taken tires in this race at all. Based on the pit lane times, we can pretty much assume that if anybody else didn't take tires, they repaired damage at the very minimum. But my goodness, what a strategy call by Joe Flanagan. And he's so smooth. I mean, I raced with him in so many series, and he gets some of the best tire wear I've ever seen. And the guy is probably doing the same thing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely he is. There's no doubt about it. You know, another interesting one is Reinhardt, who's still out here. And I don't know when he's coming in, but he will have to come in, I would imagine. A little gas and go, perhaps. I don't know where he's going to file in. He's going to have to try to file in ahead of Watts if he wants a podium finish. I don't think he can do that.
It's going to be tight. He's going to have to take as he's going to have one of the best pit lane entries that we've seen all race long. And he's going to have the exact amount of fuel he needs to get to the end and nothing more than that. Because right now he is, if my predictions are correct, we're talking about a 40-second pit lane for these drivers. He's still staying out though, Dean. I mean, he's got to be getting down to the end of this fuel, but he would need a 40-second gap. So I think he's even going to file in behind Joe Flanagan.
And that would put Flanagan one away from the podium. What a job by him. I think he's going to be hard-pressed to stay in front of Lane Allen, also moving up. So you got Flanagan up 6 spots on the night. Allen's up 3. Reinhardt showing up 4, but he is going to fall when he does pit.
And just judging by Flanagan's 40-second pit lane time, if Reinhardt even does 37 seconds, he would still come out around where Flanagan is. He's going to be well clear of Lane Allen, but Lane Allen with that fresh rubber could come into the fact. But I am very curious to see what Reinhardt can do. But right now it is Porsche, Ford, Ferrari, your top 5.
Yeah, the battle on the track right now is still that 88 of Bergdorf and Lane Allen, as Bergdorf continues to ride behind him with that fresh rubber. They're heated up now. Will he make a move?
This is also, it's a battle for 6th place, but it's also for some American bragging rights to be the best Chevrolet in the field back there in 6th. So a little bit of bragging rights between these two in this position, as the Chevrolets just don't look very good here at Zandvoort Park. Bergdorf, he's there, but of course, even if you got the freshest rubber, catching somebody and passing somebody can be 2 different things.
No doubt about it. And as long as Lane Allen keeps a good line, which it looked like he went a little high there, you might be feeling the pressure here. And Lane Allen, the ever courteous driver, given a ton of room there, I think he's willing to give up this spot.
He pulls back down. He's going to get the advantage through the Audi S deep into the corner, but actually does very well through that section. And Lane Allen pulls that gap back out just a little bit, but then slow on the exit.
Yeah, both guys took that very well there. We'll see here through this next section. And I mean, really, Lane Allen doing a great job on those older tires.
Flanagan has dropped to 40 seconds behind William Reinhardt. So now, if Reinhardt pits, he is now kind of in that mix to battle with Joe Flanagan. As Flanagan does no tire stops, he is losing time to even Lane Allen now, as that gap has gone under 10 seconds.
Yeah, Flanagan is in deep jeopardy. Allen and Bergdorf are catching him quite quickly, about a second a lap. And I think you're going to see them get there before this thing's over.
You got 10 drivers still remaining. Theo Taylor had looked like maybe some sort of engine give up on that. He is going to finish last in this race. Josh Wilkie with a, I guess you could call it a mechanical issue. He's going to be 14th. Brad Cornthwaite, he's back out on the track after some repairs, but he has 27 laps down in 13th. Looks like he might pass Donnie Staubitz before the end of the race, who's in 12th, retired with heavy damage. Scott his Chevrolet, leaving 10 drivers left, and Jari Brupascher, the last of those, as he continues to get his car going in that direction. And Dean, you look at this battle, and it's
2 very talented guys right there.
And they're very similar, Dean. I mean, they're very conservative. Don't really try to make mistakes. Don't use their stuff up, and they did not. They gave each other plenty of room, but they didn't give each other enough room to make it easy. And I love
get a guy a little more aggressive. He thinks he's faster. After a couple of those turns, he loses his patience. There's contact. A couple of cars are ruined. And in this case, they're not. We've got a 6th and 7th place car, perhaps moving up to 5th and 6th here. They will. And, and they're on the track. They're still running.
What a race. And as we said, Tony Solari has caught these guys. Can he still be in the battle for a top 5? We have 13 minutes plus a lap to go. And there are still so many positions paired. 50 seconds in the pit. So Reinhardt going to put himself out of position in this race, unfortunately dropping all the way to the end of the pack.
Very strange pit stop there from Reinhardt. No tires, but a very, very long stop. The exact opposite of what you would expect from a late pitter. It's expecting, something 20 seconds or something very quick, Jared, and that was not the case.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just had more damage than he anticipated having, or maybe he could have accidentally kept the tire checked. I've done that before, and that can be a real nuisance if you accidentally leave just your left rear tire checked, and it still takes 20 seconds to get that tire off some reason. But hard to say what happened to Reinhardt, as he's going to be working on Jari Brewpasher now in a battle for 9th place. Not where I think he would want to end up tonight, but nonetheless surviving out here. And in front of them is Darren Snyder doing a workman-like race, having a good points night, and that's what he needs as he is battling back there. Solari has continued to inch in toward Lane Allen, but I don't know, Dean, if he has enough time to catch that Crimson Chevy.
He just might. I mean, he's there now. That battle brought him even close off had. So Solari gonna be there, but we had a little preview of what Tony Solari is gonna have to deal with, and that's gonna be tough. But up ahead, I want to give a little shout out to second and third, Dicesare in second, Watson third. They continue to ride here. Watts still in touch, still looking for that second place finish.
And what a race it would be for Mike Watts to grab a solid podium finish. It'd be his first podium in the Sports Car Series. And he has been a great driver out here tonight. And they've had some good battles too. Don't want to take anything away from Lane and Eric Bergdorf, but we've had some very good battles throughout every position on the track. And Dicesare and Watts, no difference, as Watts is not letting Dicesare get away. That gap is down to 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, and they're just swapping lap times. I mean, this time by, I think it was Watts 4/10 slower, but, you know, other laps he's faster. So this is really going to go down to the last few laps. Bergdorf out here again, burning it up, fastest man on the track right now.
Well, Dean, great segue. Joe Flanagan is on those old tires. He is turning 136, is by far the slowest driver of the 10 drivers we have remaining in this race. Can he hold on for 10 more minutes on Eric Bergdorf, or is he going to be in danger of losing that 4th position?
Yeah, it's I mean, he is in danger, no doubt, because every minute that ticks by, those old tires wear out more and more. Bergdorf continues to turn lightning times as after he got around Lane Allen, he's on the march. I think he'll run him down. I don't know if he's got time to get there and make the pass though.
Darren Snyder in pits, and I wonder if he, because he's kind of in no man's land, could be a gamble to go for the fastest lap points. We see it done in Formula One. He is down and away already. It might have just gotten just a quick splash there. You know, I don't know any other reason he'd come in pits.
Yeah, perhaps not filling up the tank with enough gas, needed a little splash to get this race finished. He's going to journey on here. He is up 4 spots on the night, so not a huge thing. He's going to get lapped here by our leader, Koontz, coming around him.
We look on this battle between Flanagan and Bergdorf. That gap has gone down. We bring up the time delta, Dean, and that gap, you see the bar graph, it has gone significantly in the favor of Bergdorf. It was at 1.5 laps ago, just 5 laps ago, 10 seconds. It is down to 4.6 as we talk.
Yeah, and it just keeps dropping. I mean, 4.2 right now. He is gaining corner after corner, lap after lap. I mean, you could dramatically, under 4 seconds coming up here in this corner now. So Bergdorf is coming in a hurry. Bergdorf
finished 10th last week at Watkins Glen. Flanagan on the podium last week. So some points at stake for both of these drivers, as Darren Snyder is now down away on the pits. I may have missed that just a second ago, but now Bergdorf, I think Flanagan can see Bergdorf in the mirror now.
He can see him in the mirror, and I'm talking about another mirror. That's Lane Allen's mirror. Solari is getting there, and a little live shout out to you. Your voice just dropped a bit there, Jared. Sometimes we get bouncing around. The microphones kind of move around a little bit, but Solari, I mean, he's coming as well. It's a touch low, but maybe it's on my end. You're fine.
But these guys continuing to battle here, and Dean, you look at it, we got an open mic.
We've got a... Anyway, this battle is in fact raging on. Flanagan trying to hold off Bergdorf. Bergdorf now down to almost a 3-second gap, so he continues to you know, his last lap a 1:34.9. Flanagan's a 1:36.2. So I mean, it's not long, but we've only got 7 minutes left.
2.7 seconds now, Dean, between Flanagan and Bergdorf, Dean, your mic is still open. But we look at these guys, 2.5 seconds, little technical difficulties, but we're going to make it through here in the last 7 minutes of this race, as Mike Watts and Dicesare are battling right now for second place. That gap down to 1.9. That's pretty much been at that point the whole race between those two drivers. But Bergdorf, can he make something happen? That gap now down to 2 seconds between these drivers. Can Flanagan hold off? We're going to find out very shortly.
Yeah, not sure what's going on with the microphone, Jared.
Yeah, no big deal. We're gonna work through it, and we're all good. It's because we can still hear you, so that's what's important. Right now, 6 minutes to go. Koontz, we haven't given him. I feel like we've ignored Matt Koontz, but Matt doing a great job in first place. He has got a 31-second lead. No need to push at this point in time. He does lock it up there going into Hugenholtz a little bit, but you don't have to push it too much now, Matt. Right now, the battle on the track is between Dicesare and Watts, Flanagan and Bergdorf, and Allen and Solari. So 2 positions each are all up for grabs here in the closing minutes.
All right, made a little button switch there. I think that helped things, Jared. I hope I didn't say or do issues, but what a battle we got out here. A couple of good ones brewing.
Yeah, two by two. So battle for second, battle for fourth, and a battle for sixth as we are into the final 5 minutes of the 90 minutes of the Netherlands. Matt Koontz walking away. Hopefully he doesn't have a Kyle Larson moment. For those of you that may have watched NASCAR earlier today, I don't want to spoil it, but we definitely don't want anything to happen to Koontz, but he is well out in front of Nick Dicesare, who, again, Mike Watts has caught him again. As Watts just kind of laying back, he put down a second faster lap time than Dicesare that last time.
Yeah, man, he's down to 4 minutes here. It could come down to when Koontz. You know how that
key when that white flag or / checker flag comes out is going to be the important thing. But right now, Watts is all over Dicesare, and at the same time, Bergdorf is all over Flanagan. We got 2 battles going on at the same time, down to 2 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. What a battle here. I mean, Bergdorf is going to get Flanagan. I think you can put your money on that. Flanagan, he'll trust her full job all night. Just, nothing more you can say about him. Just excellent driving. No mistakes tonight. He blew a corner or 2, but only when he had a 20-second lead.
Exactly. Nick Dicesare opening up the gap. He's going to come around Lyondike, and he's going to grab second place, so it's very racing. Sweeping the top 2 spots. Mike Watts will pick up his first career podium in the SimRacingPoints Sports Car Challenge in 3rd place, putting on a valiant effort. Coming through Lyondike now is Eric Bergdorf, and what a run for him. A solid 4th place finish, but my goodness, it could have been a podium tonight for him. And then we look further back. Joe Flanagan, he's going to be able to hold off a hard-charging Tony Solari for 5th place.
Yeah, Lane Allen will come home in 7th if he can limp this car around one final time. And he's got Reinhardt actually 3 seconds behind him. I don't think outside of a big mistake, anything will change there. And Reinhardt, what an up and down night for him.
Big time. Reinhardt actually went off track on that last lap and allowed Lane Allen back by. So Lane Allen will grab 7th, Reinhardt 8th, and Darren Sire has already completed the race in 9th. Jari Brupascher will grab 10th place. Both of those drivers already completed, finishing 1 lap down. What a race, Dean. I don't know where to start, but I think we have to start at the top. Matt Koontz in that number 69 Very Racing machine. He got it done from the outset, and he got a little bit of help from his teammate because the gap started when nobody could get around Dicesare.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can say. We didn't spend a lot of time on him tonight because he was just so dominant. What a great drive for him. Smooth as all get up. I love the paint job, too. I'm not sure, Jared, maybe you're familiar with that cool-looking dog on the side or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Dogecoin, I believe.
Dogecoin, that's what it is.
I hope they're not investing their winnings in Dogecoin because I heard it's not doing so good. But what a run for Nick Dicesare. He's going to grab second place. And Mike Watts, we're going to get to talk to Mike tonight for the first time this year on Full Throttle TV. Excited to see how his race went as well. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. These podium drivers, we're going to hear from them in just a second as they are lining up for the podium, post-race podium picture. And we'll be back after this commercial break. All right, we're back live here at Circuit Park Zandvoort, where the 90 minutes of the Netherlands has completed, and Matt Koontz is the victor tonight, Dean, and we talked about it all night. It was Matt Koontz from the very beginning, and he didn't give anybody an opening to get around it.
He didn't. I mean, he didn't give an opening. He was gone. He was really him against the track and his own mind. Talk about the mental fatigue around a place like this. He had none. He was awesome. I mean, the 69 doing everything right. Just an excellent, excellent job by Matthew Koontz.
We're going to hear from the drivers here in just a second here. As you look at the point standings, Matt Koontz is going to take the point lead unofficially. There is some bonus points that will have to be added in as we look at that. But first off, let's get down and hear from some of these drivers that finished on the podium here tonight. And we have Mike Watts for his first career SimRacingPoints Sports Car Challenge podium. Mike, congratulations. What a race you had. You had a battle all night long. Looked like you might have been close to getting second.
Maybe. I mean, the car was pretty good. It was fast. Maybe the driver wasn't the fastest, but I was really just trying to be out there and not make mistakes and just run good, consistent laps. I was really just took advantage of everybody else's misfortune and just kept the car on the tarmac and between the lines, and it ran pretty well. So I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, you were in a great battle. I mean, you started fourth, And at the beginning of the race, it was you, it was Dicesare, it was Reinhardt and Wilkie all battling in kind of a pack. And my goodness, you guys swapped positions so many times. How did you keep your cool when everybody's racing that hard that early in the race?
Not sure. I mean, really, I was just I was sitting back and watching it, and you get in that place when you're out there on the track, and it's just I don't know, you're just trying to get every position you can get, and set the car up for each corner and hit your marks, and still kind of, be in a position where if something happens in front of you, you can take advantage. So it was really just I was trying to be as patient as possible with those guys racing. I thought for sure they were going to take each other out. It was really good racing though. Surprisingly, this track is very hard to pass on, and they really put on a good show.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and there was a lot of battles all throughout the car field tonight. But Mike, we talk about the pit stops. There's definitely some pit stop strategy on that second pit stop. You were able to cut in front of Nick Dicesare by about 2 seconds. Did you think that you had that position in hand? And then you saw Nick come back at you. You just didn't have enough time to hold him off?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was faster than me. He caught me from a straightaway back, so it was I thought about holding him off for a little while, but really just having him on my bumper for many laps at a time would force me to drive a little bit harder than I wanted to. So at one point I tried to find him off for a lap, and then I was like, I might as well just let him go. And I knew he would kind of come back to me because I was on his bumper for the final, the end of the first stint, and we were pretty close there. So and then he backed up to me there at the end, and I thought I might have had a shot at him, but he was just a little bit better than me. So, but I mean, the Ferrari ran great, and really happy with the result.
Well, you and your teammate, Pepto Joe, the only two drivers to not have any incidents tonight, so that's always a good thing. We're heading into Hockenheimring in 2 weeks. Can we expect more out of that number 55 machine next week, or 2 weeks?
Well, I love Hockenheim, so I'm hoping to do well there. It's one of my favorite tracks. Driven some Formula cars there and some GT cars, so it's a favorite of mine. Really, really big fan of that track, so I'm hoping so.
All right, Mike. Well, congratulations on that podium finish. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you have the final word here, bud.
All right. Well, yeah. Just appreciate everybody coming out, and wanted my teammate for coming out, and thank you guys for putting on such a good race. And it's a really good organization, so I look forward to racing with you guys again in the future.
All right, Dean. That was Mike Watts grabbing his first career podium, and I believe you're downstairs on the second step of that podium with Nick Dicesare, who came up second tonight.
Yeah, I got the 00 Nick Dicesare sitting here, second place. I think quite happy to have second place tonight, Nick.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be talking to you guys, that's for sure. I had a lot of trouble practicing this week. I couldn't get the car handling the way I wanted. It was a struggle, and I got to say I'm pretty delighted to be here.
Well, word has it, a bit of a late switch in the car yourself. Did that affect your preparation? Because it looked like as the race went on, you improved and improved, each 10-minute segment, if you will.
Yeah, with the updated settings that iRacing passed down, they changed the BOP even a little bit. I wanted to make sure I found the car that felt the best for me. And man, I must have ran a lot of laps in every one of those cars, and I ended up right back where I started last race in the Ford.
Yeah. So we go back to the start of the race here. You're struggling a little bit by your standards. And there's battles, man. These guys are coming. You got 3, 4, 5 guys right there battling. Talk about the nerves of getting through that part of the race.
It was stressful, I guess is the word I would use. Once I qualified second, which was another pretty surprising occurrence there. My plan was to try and obviously stay there and keep everyone behind not only for me to get second place, but to let Matt go, get further up the road from everyone. Even if people got around me, they'd have more of a gap to get to him, because I knew Matt was far and away better than I was this week.
Yeah, always teammates to think about and all of that stuff. But we get down later in the race now. Mike Watts has gotten around you, I believe, through pit stops, Nick, and talk about what you're thinking at that point.
I was trying to make up strategy on the fly, and I'm not sure if I picked the most optimal way to complete this race. I think I probably didn't have to take tires. The Ford's really good on the tires, but I was starting to slide around at the end of I did a whole stint, a full one, and then I short fueled about 10 gallons or so to try and do a short stint in the middle. And by the end of that short stint, I was pretty slow, and I was starting to lose time to everyone behind me, and I was starting to lose time to the people that got in front of me on the pits, and I ended up taking tires, and then I ended up behind. I was down in like 8th or 9th, and then people started pitting, and I started climbing back up. I was chasing down Mike. We had a pretty good battle. It felt like we were side by side for like half a lap.
Yeah, man, you guys had a good battle. There was a ton of good battles out there outside of your teammate and Koontz, who was kind of checked out and had a great race. But it was awesome seeing what you're able to do with Watts, getting back around him there, getting back into second, solidifying your point situation, and really, making something out of. I wouldn't say nothing. You qualified second, you finished second, so you did a great job. But by your standards, you're usually up there with Koontz. We look ahead now to Hockenheim. You think you're going to get out there and get back to where you were and be battling for victory there?
I certainly hope so. Hockenheim is a great track. It's one of my favorites from the F1 games in the past that I've played. I don't have too many laps on it here in iRacing. Every track kind of behaves a little differently in each sim, but I know how it looks, so I should be able to come up to speed pretty quick. I hope I can be up there with Koontz, Josh, Mike Watts, Eric. They were all fast tonight. So we'll see. We got a couple weeks to prepare, so I'm going to have to do a better job preparing than I did this week. That's for sure.
All right, Nick. Well, congratulations on fighting your way through and grabbing second place, man. You're a great driver. We look forward to seeing you at Hockenheim, and the floor is yours. Anybody you want to thank, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody. This track is pretty tough to pass on, and there was a lot of good battles that I could see and I was involved in. It was a lot of fun, and I want to congratulate my teammate who kicked everyone's ass tonight, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm proud to be on the same team.
All right, Jared. That is Nick Dicesare's second place tonight, and we look forward to seeing him back on the track in 2 weeks.
And I'm down here, Dean, in the on the podium. The top step goes to Matt Koontz. Congratulations, Matt. And I don't want to say it was a boring race for you, but you made it look easy at the very least tonight.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, this track's always tough, no matter what.
Yeah, you made it look very easy. I mean, at the beginning of the race, you jump out there and your teammates right behind you, and they had some epic battles. Did those battles allow you to kind of establish yourself as the guy to beat in this race?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I knew that tires were not going to be on my side, so I had already kind of committed to taking tires at some point during the race. So for the first stint, I just went as hard and fast as I could while they were battling behind me.
And you were able to establish that gap. I mean, it was just a situation where you look like you just set sail. You got to a 10-second lead, then you got to a 30-second lead. Did you have any indication that somebody could get that time back with a pit strategy move, or did you feel like you had that covered?
Yeah, I mean, I was worried about it because it takes so long to take tires in these cars. So I really just needed to push as hard as I could for the first two stints. I really thought I was going to take tires after the middle short stint because I wanted to finish strong. I think the Porsche is just really hard on tires.
Well, you made it look really good, Matt, and you grabbed the win. And in the exact same way that Nick won last week, you led the most, or you got the fastest lap, you got the pole, You got the win. You got clean driver. So you guys are tied at the top of the point standings. Now you're heading into Hockenheim. How do you feel about that track? It's a track that is fairly new to the iRacing service. Do you have any way you're leaning toward driving that one?
Yeah, so that's part of why I really wanted to go out there and win tonight. I don't have any laps at Hockenheim. I don't have any laps at Red Bull. So the next two races I think are going to be really hard, and it's going to take a lot of time to build up the experience that some of the other guys probably have.
Yeah, that's going to be a crazy championship. 10 races to go, but we're going to be all season. But Matt, congratulations on the win, grabbing your first GTE win in the series. I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you have the last word, bud, and congrats again.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and I just want to thank my teammate. I mean, we put in a good amount of laps together, and that battling each other in practice really just helps, and it brings out the speed, I think, in both of us.
All right, Dean, that was Matt Koontz who grabs the victory tonight, and him and his teammate tied for the points lead now.
Yeah, I mean, that battle's going to rage on. It didn't look like it was a close battle tonight, but it's going to switch at every track we go to going forward. These guys are going to battle it out. And there's some other guys. I mean, Wilkie's going to come back stronger than ever. Reinhardt had flashes, Bergdorf, Watts. I mean, a lot of guys out here. Solari had moments. There's a lot of competition, and it's only going to heat up, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
And you just look at those point standings, a little bit of a pattern emerging. We have the Very Racing drivers 1 and 2, the Pepto Racing drivers 4 and 5, or 3 and 4, and the Asphalt Motorsport drivers in 5 and 6. So the team's really starting to come to the front. We'll see how this season transpires. But we have that's going to do it for tonight here at Circuit Park Zandvoort. We got a whole slate of action coming up this week on Full Throttle TV, starting on Monday night with the Dark Matter Designs Cup Series from Full Throttle Sim Racing. Then we're back again on Tuesday with a brand new league using the next-gen Cup cars. You don't want to miss that action. They're going to kick off their season at Daytona. On Tuesday night, the Kickin' Asphalt Racing League. Can't wait to see how that goes. And then Wednesday night, Blackwater Products. You already know Dean Doucet. He's going to be there covering all the action on Wednesday night. But for tonight, for Dean Doucet, for Full Throttle TV, I'm Jared Carr. We're going to see you guys out on the track.